You're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. The Waqf Amendment Bill is being deliberated upon by 31 members of a joint parliamentary committee. Now, while those meetings have seen their fair share of drama and controversies, there are instances that are now cropping up which point to exactly why such a law is needed. Farmers in Vijaypura district of Karnataka have submitted a memorandum to District in Charge Minister M.B. Patil alleging a conspiracy by the Waqf Board to usurp their land. Several villagers have received notices claiming that their lands were property of the Waqf Board. They allege that there is a bid to register their land in Waqf Board's name overnight. And all of this is happening as there's momentum that's being gained over the Waqf Amendment Bill. They say that they have all the documents that point to their ownership. These farmers have warned of large-scale protests amid growing tension if their grievances are not addressed. The notices have already been issued to some of them in this particular district, but there are fears that more farmers could be caught in the midst of this entire controversy, which is why there's a threat of massive protests as well. These allegations become even more grave because some of them have claimed that these notices were issued after Minister there, Zamir Ahmad Khan, held a Waqf Adalat in Vijaypura not too long ago, reviewing the progress of Waqf property management. Zamir Ahmad Khan is believed to have instructed officials to complete the surveys and finalize records of unaccounted Waqf properties within 30 days. What comes next is a series of notices, so the timing is extremely suspect. So here's what CNN News 18 found when we dug deep. Farmers in this particular district have been alleging that there is a bid to register their land in the Waqf Board's name, and all of that is being done hurriedly and notice after notice is being sent out. Farmers from Vijaypura have alleged that these notices are being issued to them by tehsildars. In fact, we have accessed revenue records that date back decades old, all of which points to the ownership to these particular farmers. And yet, tehsildars are sending them notices saying that this is Waqf land and should be registered to the Waqf Board. Farmers have produced these revenue documents back from the 1960s and 70s, and these papers show not only ownership but also continuous possession by these families of that particular piece of land. We spoke to several farmers, two of whom came on records to make their aspersions public. In one instance, a farmland owner told us that he has 15 acres of land in one particular village in this district. He said that there was a notice that was issued right after Zamir Ahmad Khan visited that district, Vijaypura. This happened sometime around the first week of October. He then told us that he was asked to register the land rights in Waqf's name. He asked, why should I do that? Because our family has owned this land since 1930 or 40 and we have documentation to prove that there is no mention of Waqf as the owner but our family. Another case study that we want to highlight here is of a farmer who was told that 15 acres of his 17 guntas of land is not his. He says there was no mention of where the land came from. The tehsildar in the notice that was sent to him cited pressure from authorities when that notice was sent. This farmer then also told us that there is no mention of Waqf land in any of the records that he has from back in 1930. He also said that Waqf has asked them to register the land in their name, and all of this has happened in the last fortnight. Now, there is history in Karnataka when it comes to Waqf boards and allegations of misappropriation and misconduct. Union Minorities Minister Kiran Rijiju told the Parliament in August this year that Karnataka Waqf Board has illegally converted 29,000 acres of land for commercial purposes and that 85% of Waqf land was being misused just in Bengaluru. Now, back in 2016, Waqf Board's former CEO was charged for a suspicious transaction worth 4 crore rupees and there was an alleged scam that was being investigated as well. Back in 2012, Anwar Manipadi, the former chairman of Karnataka State's Minority Commission, had conducted his first raid in Bidar district after he had received complaints about an encroachment specifically on a graveyard. Over 3,700 acres of land was encroached upon in just one district was the allegation back then. This report was then made public. The 2012 report had claimed that 54,000 acres of land is registered in the Waqf Board while 27,000 acres was unregistered. What was alarming that 29,000 acres of that registered land was allegedly embezzled by prominent persons including senior politicians. Those were the allegations that were made in that particular report. So as we see a new controversy come to the fore from Karnataka as far as unilateral decisions or usurping of land by the Waqf Board is concerned, the question we want to ask is this: is the Karnataka government caught in a bind? Are they complicit in this agenda that the Waqf Board seem to be rolling out there? We open that up.
ಸುಮಾರು 1940 30-40ರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮದು ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತ ನಮ್ಮ ಪೂರ್ವಜರಿಂದ ನಮ್ದು ಐತ್ರಿ ಅದು.
ಮತ್ತು ಕೈ ಬರ ಉತಾರಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಬರ್ತಾವ್ರಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ವಕ್ಫ್ ಬೋರ್ಡಿನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತು ಯಾವುದೇ ಥರದ್ದು ಲಿಖಿತ ದಾಖಲೆನೂ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೂ ವಕ್ಫ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ದವರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇದನ್ನು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ.
Wherein the Congress governments in both 1995 and 2013 gave unbridled powers to the Waqf Board to not only determine any land upon a summary inquiry to conclude with that a particular land is its own, and also giving it powers of removal of encroachment under section 54.
Let's open this up. Rohan Gupta, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us. Asad Abbas, political analyst, R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist, with us as well. Asad Abbas, let me begin by asking you, do you think there is something suspect as far as these allegations are concerned? I believe you're on mute, Asad Abbas. If you could just unmute yourself, please.
Well, what I think is has been clearly notified by the Vijaypura Waqf Board. This land was marked as Waqf property by the state government, and this was documented in the Gazette. However, an official of the Vijaypura Waqf Board, Tabassum, and I'd like to quote her, a few notices were mistakenly sent to farmers. If they have valid land records, the Waqf Board will not take any action against them. Not just that, even the minister. Here in Karnataka, we have Minister Shri M.B. Patil ji, who's addressed the same issues, and he's said that if the farmers have valid ownership records predating this, their lands will not be affected. In fact, he's also meeting the Deputy Commissioner next week to resolve the same issue. I think both the statements...
Sure. So you're saying that some of these were mistakenly sent and it's not a conspiracy as is being alleged by the farmers there. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
So then after 2 weeks or so since this first came to light, or since the notices were first sent, why have we not seen any clarification from the state government?
It's the same reason why Mr. M.B. Patil is seeking the meeting with the Deputy Commissioner to resolve the same issue in the coming week.
So Mr. Zamir Ahmad Khan going there, having a Waqf Adalat has nothing to do with this? It's just overzealousness of some local officials?
Absolutely not. I think let's keep speculations aside. Let's see what the official records are, what the officials have said. I have quoted to you the minister in charge, Mr. M.B. Patil. I have also quoted the Vijaypura Waqf Board official, Ms. Tabassum. So that is what stands on record. The rest could be speculations. But yes, of course, let us see what the meeting is to be taken. He's also stated that none of the lands will be affected, those with the genuine property makers. And yes, he's meeting the Deputy Commissioner to resolve the same issue.
Sure. So in this particular case, it might be some overzealous official, or it may be a mistake, or some people have just gotten these notices when they weren't supposed to, Rohan Gupta. But why is the BJP making a big hue and cry about this? Because the Congress, or at least those leaning towards the Congress, want to give them a benefit of doubt. And let me make it clear here, the Congress was invited to be a part of this debate, but they chose not to. Rohan Gupta.
See, basically, it's not about one incident of error. This is about the abundant power which has been given by Congress government to Waqf Board. And that is why this bill is what all about. You cannot have abundant power given to anybody. Whatever is right is right. You said that, okay, it was error on part of Waqf Board. But the kind of agony the owner has to suffer, you don't understand. And these are the examples which have come to the media. Imagine other examples where people are not literate enough to even go to the media. So the idea here is the opposition of BJP's is abundant power to the Waqf Board, and the amendment bill which has been introduced, that is to control that only. But what happens here is the opposition plays the minority appeasement card. They are saying, MIM is saying that Waqf amendment bill is to take away the masjid. No, it is not. It is to ensure that whatever is right is right. It has to be ensured that whatever mistakes we have made in past, we cannot repeat the same. We have to move on. As far as the Waqf Board properties are concerned, that belongs to all the communities of minorities, not particular community. When you want to regularize that, then also there is a question. So idea here is we need to understand as we grow, there should be some resolutions or some changes which are required, and that should not be seen from the eyes of religion or appeasement. That is wrong. That is what BJP is saying all about.
Asad Abbas, do you then agree that these kind of instances and these kind of mistakes, as you call them, is perhaps why more transparency is required, and that's exactly what the new amendment plans to do? Why is there then so much opposition for it?
Firstly, Rohan Gupta ji has attributed the statements and the stand of MIM and Asaduddin Owaisi as any other stand. I think let's look at it in isolation. That is certainly not the Congress stand or any of its other allies. Of course, there is a joint parliamentary committee on the same. Reforms must be brought in. Progress must be made in the right spirit. There are no two ways about it. So therefore, when we see the joint parliamentary committee where we have members of the All India Congress Party, the MIM, and also including the TMC and many other parties, let us look at it constructively. How the Waqf amendments can be made and how it can be done for the better. But of course, attributing Asaduddin Owaisi or MIM stand as Congress stand, I think that would be absolutely wrong and out of place.
Sure, but the Congress hasn't proactively come out and supported these amendments either.
It's still in discussion.
Absolutely.
Why would Congress do something premature? Let the Joint Parliamentary Committee, which also has the participations of the Indian National Congress and
But
the
when
other
discussions
parties.
were taking place in the parliament, eventually after which it was sent to the JPC, back then too, even inside the parliament, the Congress wasn't in favor of these amendments. That stand is very
Why
clear
would-
of the Congress.
Why would the Congress be blindsided in agreeing with everything that BJP wants? There could be progression made, there could be construction
Poonam.
made, there could be further developments which can come through, not blindly blanket follow what they say. There are, as a matter of fact, if we are going to debate Waqf Amendment Bill, I can tell you a couple of things which are working and are not. As a matter of fact, I think it's a great step that there is women representation in the Waqf board. But the Bharatiya Janata Party also needs to understand, here in Karnataka Waqf board, there is women representation. In the Vijaypur that we speak of, there is women representation, and elsewhere too. And not just that. Let us address as it comes. Of course, the welcoming of the Bhora community into the Waqf board is the great measure to take. But of course, we can certainly develop other fronts. Like if you speak of having other representation, for instance, at a temple board, having a Muslim representation would not be right, I feel. In a church, having a Hindu representation would not be right. Likewise, in a Waqf board, what the opposition parties are saying is when it is run by a minority community, having a representation from other religion side would cause not the right crepency of the court to take ahead. And also giving the powers, complete powers to the tribunal won't be apt. So these are matters of debate and discussion.
But
Let
at
us
the
look
moment, there
ahead
are
how
complete
best this
powers
can
or
be done.
unbridled powers that are given to the Waqf board is the allegation, which is exactly what is being tried to arrest. At least that's what the aim of this bill is. But R.K. Upadhyay, you want to come in as well? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Hello?
Mr. Upadhyay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
You
go
know,
ahead.
what is happening in Vijaypura or formerly Bijapur is typical of the nefarious activities of the work board across the country and also in Karnataka. I mean, this is not the first time. The Monopody committee, which went into the entire gamut of the problem, identified more than 40,000 acres of land, which is claimed by the work board, without a shred of evidence. In many cases, they have no records. All that they do is just go to a particular spot and say that it belongs to us. And then when the local people question it, they say we refer it to the tribunal. And what is this tribunal? The tribunal also consists of the same officials of the work board. And then the decision of the tribunal is supposed to be final. You can't go to any court of law. And this is what the amendment done by the UPA government just before it laid down power in 2014 did. I mean, this is what's being looked into by the new law, which is being presented by the JPC. So let us not look at this from wishy fashion. I think there is a very serious matter, and what is happening has to be exposed. And why Vijaypura? See, Vijaypura was formerly of the Sultanate. It belonged to the the dynasty of the Adil Shahi. Let's not forget that. And they ruled from 1490 to 1686 when they surrendered to the Mughals. So there is a history behind this, and then as long as this, as soon as the Congress government came into power, Siddharama government has consistently backed the Muslims, and even the OBCs, the reservations left from OBCs, the Muslim communities, whether they belong to various communities within the Muslims, they are given OBC status. Whereas once they become Muslims, they are not supposed to have any religion. They are not supposed to have any caste. How is that the new caste which are there among the Muslims are being given reservation? This is entirely at the expense of the real OBCs. So these are the real issues in Karnataka, and I think we need to look into all this.
And there's a larger issue that needs to be looked into as well.
Poonam.
But Asad Abbas, yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Before I ask you what I want.
I think
Poonam,
I think the gentleman
I'll
has
get you
made
in,
a
Rohan Gupta.
very controversial statement. They're saying that the Congress party is appeasing the Muslim. I'd like to know how, sir. If you look at the 5 schemes derived by the Congress party, be it Anna Bhagya, be it for the women or the men or everybody.
Let us not talk about
Yuva
your
Nidhi, Shanti
schemes.
Gruha. Allow me
Let
to
us not
complete
talk
my
about your
point, please.
schemes.
I did
This is not
I
about
did
the
not
schemes.
speak when you
This is
spoke.
about the land
Allow me to
enforcement.
complete
We are
Mr.
talking
Upadhyay,
about
let
land
him finish.
enforcement.
Mr. Upadhyay, let him
This is not
finish,
about
please.
the
I'll
schemes.
come back to you.
point, sir.
So this is
I
not
think
about
it's
the schemes,
absolutely
this is about the
unfair
land
and it's
enforcement,
absolutely
this is
wrong
about
to
illegal
say that the
occupation of
Congress
land
party is doing or
by the
Siddaramaiah is doing
of the
this for the
board.
Muslims.
So you need to,
Sir,
we
allow
need
me
But
to
there are
complete my
decisions,
point.
Asad Abbas. But Asad Abbas, there are decisions that the government in Karnataka has taken, which would be looked at through the lens of appeasement. Let's look at how much fund has been given.
Answer.
About 100 crores for management of Waqf properties. This has happened in the
I will
recent
answer.
budget.
Poonam ji, I will
About
answer that.
300
Firstly,
crores has been set aside for certain schemes or certain expenditures that's meant only for the minority community.
okay.
And also
Firstly,
And this is a
Poonam ji, I
state that's
request-
struggling to already
I
kind of
request,
implement what you've promised pre-elections.
I request Upadhyay ji to please do not, butt in
Sure.
when I'm speaking.
I
sir.
will get him in.
Kindly
I will
keep
get
that
him in. I will. R.K. Upadhyay, I will get you in. Let Mr. Abbas finish. But Mr. Abbas, I've told you exactly why this reeks of appeasement. There are several
It's
instances like
absolutely-
this.
It absolutely does not reek of appeasement, and I'll tell you why. Poonam ji, are my panelists even aware that in Uttar Pradesh, that there is a very large madrasa fund that goes out? Initially, they were paid about 6,000 rupees. The same Maulvis are now paid 12,000 rupees. So would my friends from the BJP agree that Yogi Adityanath ji is doing any form of appeasement for the Muslims and the madrasas? No. Not just that, even if you look at Madhya Pradesh, if you look at Uttar Pradesh and many other BJP states, they also have large funds for the minorities. As a matter of fact, my dear brother Rohan Gupta can also avail the same details. So this is there in every state. It is there for the Dalits, it's there for the scheduled tribe, the scheduled caste, it's there for the minorities, so on and so forth. So therefore, it's not just Siddaramaiah or the Congress government. Even if you look at all the minority funds and the structures that they bring in from the government has been in BJP states too. Also, the second point that I'd like to derive, Upadhyay ji, many of the schemes of the Congress party has been there for the Vokkaligas, for the Lingayat, for all the tribes and everybody here in Karnataka. So therefore, it's absolutely unfair to say that it's for the Muslim. Now, coming to the Waqf land,
No, it's not
respected
just-
sir,
we're not talking
no
about
Waqf
this.
board
We're
here
talking
in
about-
India can
we're
come
talking
without
about
their valid
illegal
documents
land
or papers
acquisition.
and say this
Poonam,
land belongs to us.
talking
Sure.
land.
Absolutely no,
Let us
sir.
not talk-
There is a gazette, there is a notification
So,
which
Abbas-
goes
But
about.
all of it, Asad Abbas, is in the hands of the Waqf board and the tribunal, which has unilateral, unbridled powers, is the allegation. That
No,
it has
but-
unilaterally
no,
gone
no,
and
no.
said this land belongs to Waqf, a lot of which has temples
answer
on it. A lot of those lands have temples on it built decades ago.
I will answer
Poonam.
that. I will answer
Or
that.
Hindu families living there for 3 to 4 generations.
I
And
will
suddenly
answer
the
that.
Waqf board says this is
Even-
our land.
Poonam
So
ji,
that is
even in the
precisely the
tribunal,
problem. Let me
if
let
the
me come
Waqf
in.
board
Let me come in,
or the
madam.
I'll get you in,
representatives-
R.K. Upadhyay, 10 seconds. Asad Abbas, 10 seconds, please.
if the Waqf board or the representatives do not have the respective papers of the land, that stands null and void. They have to take their complaint back. They cannot exist anymore. The fact of the matter, tribunal in many cases, even here in Karnataka, has taken back the cases on the same front because without legit documents, the case cannot move forward. Many a times tribunal has gone against the Waqf board and the representative itself. So therefore,
So R.K.
it's
Upadhyay,
wrong
this
to
is just
blanket
an
ban the
attempt
tribunal.
to demonize
Poonam, I
the
would
Waqf
like to come
boards.
in here.
Yeah.
No, the
yeah.
problem here is.
I'll get you in, Rohan Gupta. He had a rebuttal to make. I'll come back to you. R.K.
Hello.
Upadhyay. Mr. Upadhyay, if you can hear me, please go ahead.
Yeah, you see, the problem is a lot of VVIPs have encroached upon these lands, and this has been revealed in the Monopoly Committee report. Up to about 30,000 acres of land, including the Congress president, his name has appeared, and he has not denied. He has not denied that. So let us be realistic about the whole thing. There has been a lot of encroachment, and especially a lot of VVIPs have taken it. And it is not that the poor Muslims who benefited from this. Poor Muslims are nowhere in it. So Karnataka is among the states where there are lots of poor Muslims. They are not benefited from these lands. So this is a clear case of land looting which has gone on, and that is what the Modi government is trying to correct.
And at the
So
very
let
least,
them-
there should be an
let them look
investigation in
into
it.
all this. Let them see where the records lie and who owns these the lands, and then it has properly given. So you cannot just declare that it belongs to Muslims and then claim the rights over it.
Sure, there has to be the same kind of yardstick that's applied when it comes to any other land dispute. And Rohan
Yes, sir.
Gupta, as far as appeasement allegation is concerned, the Congress says that you cannot accuse them of appeasement politics because the BJP does exactly the same.
No, there is a difference, Poonam. See, first of all, my friend was talking about, Mr. Syed was talking about, whether Congress is opposing or not. My question is very simple. If you are not opposing the idea, have you given any statement that, okay, there should be reforms in Waqf board? No, absolutely not. You have kept quiet. Their ally, that Indi Gadbandhan ally, Mr. Abu Azmi in Maharashtra, he says that there is a right of Waqf board even on parliament land. Congress is silent there because obviously they want to do their appeasement politics. So there is a difference between appeasement politics and the rights. We are not against Muslims. Obviously, if Madrasa, Maulvi's salaries is low and if it is increased, there is nothing wrong. That is not appeasement. It is the right as a citizen of India. There is a difference between appeasement and the right. Why I am calling it appeasement? Because Waqf for property, the poor Muslims, they don't get any benefit. And that is the objective of this government, that through this amendment, through the reforms, the benefit of Waqf board must go to the poor Muslims. And that is why they are opposing. Why they are not talking about the caste census as far as Muslims are concerned? Because they are worried that if the realities come out, they will be exposed. Idea, Poonam, is the way this minority appeasement is happening, the way they are misguiding the Muslims by saying that Waqf amendment bill has been introduced to take away their masjids and all. That is completely to ensure that currently whatever wrong things are going, that must continue. That few people's control on Waqf board remains. That is not allowed. You have to go with the time. The reforms needs to be there. If there is abandoned power where any landowner, he is under question. Now, I think my friend was saying that if something is wrong, it can be taken back. But why anybody should be allowed that abandoned power? Then they can go to any land and claim their right, and that poor person has to go back and justify. He has the right of proving is on the owner of the land. It is not on Waqf board. It is easy for Waqf board. Like even in Karnataka, he just told that it's an error. But you just imagine the situation of mindset of the person who was owning that land. What will happen to him? He's been owning the land since 1930, and somebody comes next day morning and says that, okay, this is my land. What about the mental agony people are going through? This is one of thousands of cases across India. So my point is, if Congress is transparent, they should support the reforms.
One aspect is that of the mental trauma or what this person is undergoing, and for how long until there is any recourse that comes his or her way, if any, is one concern. Secondly, as far as this particular case goes, you said the minister in charge, who's the minister in charge of this particular district, Mr. M.B. Patil, he's come out and clarified. But all of this started because the Minorities Affairs Minister in Karnataka, one who's in charge of looking after Waqf, Mr. Sameer Ahmed Khan, was the one who went there, had a Waqf Adalat, and that's how it seems to have started. So should he not come out and clear the air?
Three quick points. Certainly, he must come out and clear the air. There are no two ways about it. He must. Two quick points. Rohan Gupta ji mentioned that there is a difference between what Congress party does in its state and BJP parties does. When BJP does it, it is a welfare scheme. But when Congress does it, it is a appeasement. अरे hypocrisy की भी सीमा होती है भाई साहब. थोड़ा
Supporting Waqf is appeasement and giving right is not an appeasement.
Rohan Gupta, let him finish, please. Rohan Gupta, let him finish, please.
I do not.
Mr. Abbas, go ahead.
Sir. Thank you. So therefore, I'll tell you, even when it comes to Karnataka elections, during the schemes, as a matter of fact, I don't know BJP, my friends have read it or not. They also had welfare schemes or so-called Revdi politics. 10 kg rice, 1 liter milk. But the same thing when Congress does it, it is appeasement. But now coming to the point, R.K. Upadhyay ji made a very, I'd say a very wrong statement there. Sir, can you come out in the open and tell me which is the Congress party that president that you speak has been convicted in any Waqf board's case or has encroached? Do you have any substantial evidence or proof, sir, before you make such a serious allegation? Can you? Karnataka High Court or the Supreme Court? Answer me, Mr. Upadhyay.
No, it is all there in the report. It is for the government to take action. Now that the Siddaramaiah government is there in power,
a concrete proof or evidence.
Their own leaders. They won't take
Concrete
any
proof or evidence.
Listen,
Report,
Abbas,
I
the
can
point,
sit here and
the
write a
point is
report.
it has to be
No,
questioned
no,
by
sir,
the
you
court.
cannot get away.
It
Poonamji,
has
you
to be
cannot get
questioned
away
before the
by
court.
this
It
gentleman
it has
making
to be
such a
questioned
serious
before the court.
allegation
So
and
when the
going away
government
based
itself
on a report.
itself
Is
is
it a Supreme Court's report or a
handing love with
Karnataka
the
High Court
Waqf
report?
board, it's not going to
Poonamji,
happen.
this is not fair.
As long as it's a
No, 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 sir,
government
you
handing
cannot get
love
away
with the
from
Waqf
this.
board, it's not going to happen. There has to be an
No, no, no,
independent.
So
sir,
there
you
is a
cannot get
report
away.
that
It's
came out. There is a
based
report
on the
that came
report.
out that names
There
several
has to be an
politicians,
independent
including
agency
talking about.
including
Poonamji, I'll
Congress
answer you.
president now, which is also
Poonamji,
something
I'll
that
answer
came
you.
up during the JPC deliberations, something that shouldn't have come out, is what many opposition MPs who are part of that JPC have said. But coming back to the issue at hand and this particular case in Karnataka. Several farmers from this particular district have come out and made these allegations. They're even threatening protests. The least the Congress can do is come out and clear the air, specifically the minister concerned, not the minister in charge in this case, the minister concerned under whom this ministry, this portfolio of minority affairs and of Waqf comes. He should come out and clarify, because the timing is definitely suspect. And we wonder why the Congress didn't want to join on this debate, because that's exactly what they would have done. If there is nothing wrong and if there is nothing to hide, we wonder why they're not wanting to give us those answers. But on that note,
Poonamji,
I'll
can I
have to
answer
leave
that?
it there. I'm completely out of time. I thank you all, gentlemen, for joining us here on this edition. Coming up after a quick break here on Plain Speak, though, is details of the disengagement that has begun at the line of actual control between India and China. We'll get you an inside scoop.
which
Thank you for staying with us. You're on Plain Speak. We have some breaking news that's now coming in from Maharashtra. It looks like ahead of the big battle for the state elections, the India bloc's seat-sharing troubles are only mounting. Samajwadi Party is now issuing an ultimatum. The party's Maharashtra chief has now said that the opposition is making a big mistake by not giving the seats that Samajwadi Party wants to contest in the state. He says 5 candidates are ready, but if our alliance partners do not finalize and agree to give us those 5 seats, then we will set our own 20 to 25 candidates to run against our own allies.
सर मैं 5 उम्मीदवार अनाउंस कर चुका हूं। यदि आप मुझे जवाब देते हैं तो ठीक है, नहीं तो मैं 25 उम्मीदवार मेरे पास तैयार हैं, मैं लड़ाऊं, क्योंकि मेरे को इसके पहले 2 बार धोखा कांग्रेस से हो चुका है। इसी तरह से जब 1 दिन बाकी 2 दिन बाकी रहता है तो कह रहे हैं हम अभी हमारी सीटों का बंटवारा हो रहा है, वेट करो। लास्ट में ये लोग धोखा दे देते हैं। यदि इन्होंने मेरे को 5 सीट पे ओके किया, ये 5 सीट पक्का लड़ाएंगे और 1-2 सीट देने की बात की तो मैं अलायंस में रहूँगा, और नहीं दिया तो मैं आज़ाद उम्मीदवार 25-30 लड़ाऊँगा, उसका जो भी होगा वो जाने हो।
Mayuresh, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Mayuresh, troubles seem to be mounting there for the Aghadi. Any reaction coming in from any of the Aghadi partners about this dare that has come to the fore from the Samajwadi Party?
See, Aghadi already have said that they are going to give 10 seats to their smaller parties or smaller alliance parties. And if you remember that Samajwadi Party had first put demand of 12 seats, and now they are saying that at least 5 seats should be given. But Aghadi is of this opinion right now. Their strength is of 2. They have only 2 MLAs. One is Abu Azmi from Mumbai and another is Rais Sheikh from Bhiwandi area. So they are claiming that if you have only 2 MLAs right now, on what basis you are asking for 5 seats or more than that? But still, Mahavikas Aghadi in their last press conference had said that we are going to give 10 seats to our smaller alliance partners, and in that we will hold discussion with them and we will try to sort it out. We have been told that right now another round of meeting is underway at YB Chavan Center, where all 3 party leaders are meeting Sharad Pawar and discussing the seat change, because right now Aghadi has only come up with the formula of 85-85 each and 23 and 10 seats to the smaller parties, and 23 seats they are yet to decide. So it would be interesting to see whether they accept the demand of Abu Azmi to give him at least 5 seats in the state, that is 3 more or 3 additional seats, or whether they convince him to contest 2 seats. Because if you remember in Lok Sabha election, Mahavikas Aghadi didn't give a single seat to Abu Azmi, citing or telling him or convincing him, we can say, that we will accommodate you in the upcoming state assembly election.
So that time has now come for them to walk the talk as far as that deal or that arrangement goes. Will they do that? We'll find out. But for the moment, Mayuresh, thank you so much for getting us the latest. Shifting focus now to the line of actual control, where the disengagement process between India and China has begun. Remember, this is 4 days after the announcement came to the fore, confirmed by the External Affairs Ministry here in India, that a deal had been reached between the 2 countries to disengage, try and go back to the situation that prevailed at the line of actual control in 2020 before the Galwan clash happened. So now that disengagement process has begun, we're given to understand that until the 29th of this month is where it will even be complete. What has happened through the last 4 days is that Monday is when the confirmation came. On Tuesday, India and China local commanders met to decide the nitty-gritties and try and work the process out as soon as possible. A day later, on Wednesday, both sides started removing the temporary tents that were put forth at least at 2 points, that is Depsang and Demchok. That's where the friction was. That's where the patrolling rights were curbed by PLA for the Indian side. There are some vehicles in Depsang that were also removed from both sides. All of this happened on Wednesday. Now, yesterday, which was Thursday, 3 days after the confirmation of the announcement came, there were some tarpaulin structures that were there in Depsang, on both sides. They have been removed as well. Tents of both sides have been removed from Demchok as well, as a sign of things progressing. Today, we're on Friday. Today is the 25th. We're given to understand until the 29th, this entire process is going to get over. 40% of structures have already been removed. The process to remove the remaining 60 will happen by this evening, is a confirmation that we have from our sources within the Defence Ministry. Local commanders meet every day, once or twice, to try and go over these nitty-gritties and ensure that the smooth transition happens. A joint verification is done after these tents are out, and it will continue to happen until the 29th. Both sides will then conduct land and aerial verification as well. Remember, patrolling rights that were curbed after the Galwan clash are also going to be restored. We're given to understand that by the end of this month, by the 31st of October, patrolling is also expected to be restored. We'll of course keep a track of whether that happens in the next 4 days or not. But at the moment, slipping into a quick break on this edition of Plain Speak.
विचार
Welcome back. 10 days after External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar returned from Pakistan after the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, Pakistan was back to doing what it does best, return every overture from the Indian side with a dose of betrayal. And that's exactly what has happened in the last fortnight. 2 attacks from Pak-based terrorists shedding blood on Indian soil. 2 soldiers and 2 civilian porters were killed after terrorists attacked an Indian Army vehicle in Gulmarg last evening. And this attack comes a week after 7 people who were part of the construction team working on a key infrastructure project in Gandarbal were killed. So while Shahbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister, tries to talk about dialogue with India and peace with India, and even as they plead for that, they continue to push terror. Is peace with Pakistan a mere pipe dream?
Two Indian Army men and 2 civilian porters have died in an attack on the Indian Army in Gulmarg area of North Kashmir. What we have been told is yesterday there was a vehicle of the army moving when they came under heavy fire from hiding militants.
अफसोसनाक एक वाक़या है क्योंकि एक नौजवान जो कि अपना रोज़गार कमाने के लिए आर्मी के साथ वैसे थे पोर्टर काम कर रहा था। इस वक्त सिर्फ इंसाफ की ज़रूरत है।
इस रियासत में ये होते रहे, आप जानते हैं ये कहाँ से आते हैं और वो तब तक बंद नहीं होगा जब तक कोई रास्ता नहीं ढूंढा जाए इस मुसीबत से निकलने।
Opening this up, Lieutenant General Satish Dua, former GOC of 15 Corps Indian Army, joins us. Faraz Saeed, senior journalist from Pakistan, is with us as well. Mr. Saeed, let me begin by asking you. 2 attacks in 2 weeks, innocents that are being killed in Jammu and Kashmir. Why is it that we see terror attacks take place every time India tries to make an overture? We had the External Affairs Minister in Pakistan not too long ago. The Kartarpur Sahib corridor was opened up a few days ago. Mr. Saeed, can you hear me?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Mr. Faraz Saeed, if you can hear me.
Yes, now I can. Now I can.
So I was asking you that every time there seems to be some mend in the ties between the two countries, we see terror attacks take place in Jammu and Kashmir, just 2 in the last fortnight, ever since External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has come back from Pakistan.
You see, it was a good news that the Indian External Minister was visiting Pakistan for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Islamabad. But do you know that on the very first day, there was also a terror strike in Pakistan, and we did not blame India for that. So I would say, why would Pakistan want to strike a terror attack in India when just a day earlier we struck a deal where we're going to, extend our Kartarpur corridor engagement? So I don't think that it is Pakistan or the Indian side which is trying to sabotage the relationship, which we feel that there's some betterment coming out. I think there's external actors who might be at play, or maybe because I always feel that whenever there's a terror strike in India, the first response from the media is that it's probably Pakistani hand behind any terror attack in India. Why would we want to sabotage relationship?
You tell us, sir.
When we were hosting SCO, when we want a good relationship with India as far as BRICS is concerned, I mean, we all knew what news was going on around BRICS. So I don't think, unless or until there is a proven, documented proof by your intelligence agencies, by your police force.
How many pieces of evidence would you like? Because we've given several over the years.
I always.
Which is why the needle of suspicion always goes towards Pakistan, because there's always proof that there is a Pakistan hand. Not because it's a women fancy of media organizations in India or anybody else in India.
No, Poonam, that is not the case. Poonam, I always feel that we should work case by case. That is the smart way to move on. We cannot.
So you're saying in some cases Pakistan is involved, but in this case they're not.
No. You have proved any kind of, if there was any shred of evidence, if there was any, and if there was any provided to Pakistan, that was years ago, and that was even not substantiated by any claims. Because again, as far as I'm concerned, if you trace back history, Pakistan has been not provided any evidence of its involvement in terror attack by the Indian authorities at all in the past 10 years. I have not seen any kind of evidence coming from Delhi to Islamabad. In fact, there is more evidence that Pakistan has been sending not directly to the India, but the global actors of India sponsoring terror in Pakistan. It is the other way around. It is not that how Pakistan is always engaging India as far as terror is concerned. It is the Indian
But Mr. Saeed, I thought you just said that Pakistan does not blame India. Then where is this proof that you're talking about, and where is it coming from? And if there is proof, why are you not giving it to India? Because India has given you proof of several attacks that have taken place here in Pakistan's hand, and the biggest one is 2611.
I'm sorry, that's not the case. I'm sorry, Poonam, that's not the case. You are mistaken on that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not, sir. I'm not mistaken. Dossier after dossier has been given.
Poonam, no.
And an ex-army man on this panel will confirm to that.
No. Poonam, we have not received any dossiers. In fact, we do have Kulbhushan Yadav still in our cell, who is languishing there because he was an active armed member of the armed forces of India, and he was involved in terror attack in Pakistan and terror machine in Pakistan. So let's not play.
And where's the proof of that, or has that been shared with third party as well and not directly with India?
Of course, we share proof with the entire world, with all the actors in the globe. Because again,
who are all the actors, sir? The two people involved here are India and Pakistan. If there is proof, give it to India. If you claim there is proof.
I mean, we've been sending dossiers, as you say. You've been sending dossiers. We've also been sending dossiers. There was Lahore attack back in 2013 or 2012, where there was evidence and proof of direct Indian involvement in the terror strike. I mean, we also have enough amount of evidence of proving how India's hands are dirty as far as terror is concerned in Pakistan. In fact, it's not just Pakistan. India is accused of sponsoring terror, state-led terror, not just in Pakistan, but Canada, US.
And there too, there's no proof. Just like in Pakistan. And Lieutenant General Satish Dua, I know you've been patiently waiting, but how do you respond to when Pakistan comes out and says that why should Pakistan be blamed? We are a victim of terror as well. And that's a stance they've taken not just with India, but at multiple global fora as well. That we are a victim of terror, but for some reason we get blamed every time there's a terror attack in India.
Part first, if Pakistan is a victim of terror, it is because of that famous Hillary Clinton statement, phenomena of if you rear snakes in your courtyard or backyard, they will also come back to bite you. So the fact, and why should Pakistan be blamed? Let me just put it this way. 5 years ago, Article 370 was diluted. It was a totally internal matter for India. Pakistan made a lot of noise, but eventually, sorry for using this colloquialese, but eventually they had to lump it. It is our internal matter. Thereafter, elections have been conducted peacefully. Apart from the fact that development has been prosecuted, a lot of peace and normalcy has been returned to the state, tourism, business, everything is flourishing. So there is a proper democratic process that has been put into place. Both Lok Sabha elections and assembly elections for the J&K have taken place. Pakistan had to lump it. They did try to activate the Jammu region before the elections. They tried to target soft targets like pilgrims, like workers, migrant workers. These are the terrorist groups. Now coming to the part that why should Pakistan be blamed? Today's attack, I beg your pardon, yesterday's attack has been claimed by PAF. PAF is a front organization of Jaish-e-Mohammed. It is a well-known and documented fact. Now, where is the Jaish-e-Mohammed leader? Where is the headquarters? It is in Pakistan. Now, smarting over all these developments that are taking place in Jammu and Kashmir, they are trying to step up the ante
Now that the elected government is in place, so we've seen these two terror attacks in quick succession. And I dare say, it also happens that now be snowfall on the higher reaches, the passes will close, and as is the cyclic nature of the beast,
I believe we've lost that audio link with Lieutenant General Dua. We'll try and reconnect that. But let me get in Faraz Saeed back. Was that answer enough to you when you said, why is India blaming Pakistan in this particular case?
I lost your voice. Can you repeat your question?
If you heard what Lieutenant General Dua was saying of why Pakistan is being blamed in this recent terror attack, he's given you that a frontal organization for a Pakistan-based group has claimed responsibility for it. Is that proof enough for you?
You see, so let me talk as a journalist. You see, I always make sense of things, how things operate, right? The point is, we've taken control of all the splinter groups of all the previous terror organizations in Pakistan. We've tried them, we've arrested them, we've put them in jail. If there are any splinter groups that are still languishing in Kashmir, that is none of our problem, because it is the intelligence failure of Indian armed forces. It is their failure which have led to such incidents. Why do you end up blaming Pakistan when it is their failure? You know, whenever there's a terror attack in Pakistan, we do not blame external actors. We blame the failure of our organizations, our forces. So we should rather...
That's maybe because you don't have faith in your agencies, sir. We have faith in our agencies and we know exactly where this terror is emanating from.
I mean, even if you still have faith after massive failures of massive terror attacks, I mean, that's your choice.
We have faith both in our capabilities and faith in the fact that Pakistan is very well capable of doing exactly this, pushing terror and then feigning ignorance. But I believe Lieutenant General Dua is back with us now. So let me ask you this before I wrap this up. We lost temporarily your line. You know, Pakistan talks about having dialogue and having peace. But India has made it clear that terror and talks can't go hand in hand. We've maintained that policy for a very long time. But if this continues, is peace with Pakistan even possible?
Well, that's our stated party line, that if unless Pakistan shows serious intent at winding down the terror machinery that prosecutes attacks or terror attacks across the line of control, we are not going to go in for talks. Now, the fact is, we have to see some serious intent on the side of Pakistan, on the part of Pakistan. Several times in the recent past, especially before the elections, proof was offered that those terror attacks were carried out by a group that infiltrated across Punch Rajouri area. So we have to see serious intent. There is no point in indulging in dialogue unless we show some intent in trying to wind up the terror activities.
And that intent has to be shown by Pakistan. Pakistan has a lot more to do than India if ties have to go back to normal between the two countries. Unfortunately, I'm completely out of time, so I leave it there. I thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on this edition of Plain Speak. It's a wrap from my side. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Co-powered by
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this very special edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. We are going to focus on the News 18 Pulse survey that we've conducted here on the News 18 network, and in this edition, the focus will be on India's verdict on Canada at the moment. What's the public sentiment all across Bharat? We will talk about it in detail, ladies and gentlemen. Amid Bharat's diplomatic row with Canada, the Trudeau government has provoked yet again. The Canadian authorities have refused to share the death certificate of Khalistani terrorist and wanted individual Hardeep Nijjar with the National Investigation Agency. First, Canada claims that Bharat was involved in the terrorist killing, and then Canada names Bharat's envoy as a person of interest. Then Canada states that there is no evidentiary proof of Bharat's involvement, and now Canada refuses to share Nijjar's death certificate. Canada has been shouting of Bharat's involvement, and Canada has claimed that Bharat is not cooperating. But this is a clear proof of who is trying to hide the truth. Is it not, ladies and gentlemen?